start kissing again. Maybe you maybe you don't rush through intercourse, but you give him a massage, then he gives you a massage. You start making out again. It's been so long that you could actually dip into that newness factor again and get to know each other where you're at now, which could be really exciting and hot. So you could look at it that way. We have a great opportunity to build something here and to get connected again. You're listening to Sex with Emily. I'm Dr. Emily, and I'm here to help you prioritize your pleasure and liberate the conversation around sex. We all have fears around sex, whether you're aware of them or not. Maybe you're worried someone's not going to like your body, or that if you and your partner try something new, it'll be awkward or weird. Or maybe you're worried you'll never have sex with anyone again. I'm here to tell you this. Your sexual anxieties are completely normal. Listen in as my callers and I work through theirs and develop actionable solutions to take the next step. When you're a vulva owner and something comes out when you orgasm, are you peeing or squirting? When preparing for a threesome, how can you get over the fear that your partner won't want sex with just you anymore? When the sex has fallen off entirely, how do you start initiating again? All this and more in today's Sexual Anxieties episode. Intentions with Emily. For each episode, I want to start off by setting an intention for the show, and I encourage you all to do the same. My intention is to help alleviate some of the anxieties you may have around sex, whether it's your body, making the first move, trying something new, or even just experiencing pleasure itself. Trust me, you deserve it. Please rate and review Sex with Emily wherever you listen to the show. My new articles, Sexy Summer Pack List, and 4 Penis Problems and 4 Ways to Solve Them are up on sexwithemily.com. Check out my YouTube channel, social media, and TikTok. It's all at Sex with Emily for more sex tips and advice. And if you want to ask me questions, leave me your questions or message me at sexwithemily.com/assemily or call my hotline 559-TALK-SEX or 559-825-5739. Always include your name, your age, where you live, and how you listen to the show. All right, big announcement. Okay, this is a big deal for me, and I hope you're going to join me on the road. I just released dates for my upcoming Smart Sex book tour. This will be the first time in almost 2 decades I've done live events with you, and we're going to be adding some more book events this summer, but this is what we got so far. And I want to say, if you'd like me to do an event in your city, just get in touch with us, feedback@sexwithemily.com. But for these upcoming events, tickets are on sale, so please join me. So, New York on June 13th, get tickets to that. Virtually on June 15th via Crowdcast, which is so cool. So I can talk to all of you. Join me, virtual event. We can all chat, talk about the book. I can answer your questions live. And then I'll be in San Francisco Bay Area on June 17th. So we'll be doing photo ops, a moderated discussion panel, live Q&As. I literally can't wait to answer your questions live and in person. And when you buy a ticket, you'll automatically get a copy of my new book, Smart Sex. So we have an article on our site with all this info, which you can also find in the show notes. Don't forget, if this episode speaks to you, I do have a whole chapter on the pleasure thieves in my book, like anxiety, that are standing in the way of your maximum pleasure. Lastly, this episode is brought to you by Via Hemp Company. For anyone struggling with anxieties around sex, cannabis might be just the thing to calm your nerves. We did a special 420 episode on cannabis and sex that you all should check out. Listen, although cannabis is not for everyone, it is super helpful for a lot of people to alleviate stress, especially when combining THC with CBD. I am a fan of cannabis, especially when it comes to sex, getting in the mood. Definitely can help with anxiety. All their products are delicious. I love their packaging. V Hemp has these delicious 2 milligram THC and CBD microdose gummies in white peach flavor. They're so good. And what I love about them is they're specifically designed for users seeking a gentler, more manageable cannabis experience. So if you've been curious about trying cannabis, these are the perfect way to start. Via Hemp Company is a premium hemp brand that offers the full range of strengths among their products, from non-psychoactive CBD to high-strength THC options. My team and I love them. Our friends love them. I gift them to everybody. If you want to try their microdose gummies or their high-love libido gummies, which you all sold out quickly the last time, Use code Emily for 15% off your order and a free 2-piece sample pack of their High Love Libido gummies. Just click the link in our show notes and use code Emily at checkout. All right, everyone, enjoy this episode. By now, you've probably heard my Magic Wand story. It's a brand that's been part of my personal journey for more than 20 years. But no matter how many times I sing Magic Wand's praises, I'll never be able to fully capture the story of this incredible brand. Well, now journalist and author Kate Sloan just completed a limited audio series documenting the history and impact that Magic Wand has created over the last 56 years. It's called Making Magic, and the series chronicles Magic Wand's incredible brand story through interviews with nearly 40 experts, performers, business owners, educators, and fans. So I got a sneak preview of this series, and what I loved is that Kate weaves together snippets from all their interviews into this amazing story arc. She covers Magic Wand's journey from appliance store massager to its legendary influence on culture and sexual independence, and it's all just fascinating. The first episodes of Making Magic are available now at makingmagicseries.com or on all popular podcast platforms. Just search for Making Magic or visit makingmagicseries.com today. This is from Katie, 29 in Florida. Dr. Emily, when I masturbate, clitoral stimulation with a vibrator, I find that I always urinate when I climax. It's like I can't do one without the other. I've orgasmed during sex with men, but I do not often, and I think part of the reason is because I'm afraid I will pee on them. Have you heard of this happening before, and is there anything I can do to help the situation? All right, Katie, great question. This is what we like to call squirting. Squirting is kind of the new anal. I feel like when I started the show years ago, anal was a new blowjob. No one was talking about anal as much 15 years ago, at least in the straight community. And then now squirting has been a whole thing. I believe it's because of porn. But this is what we're talking about. It is not urine. It's traces of urine. Just so you know. And it is common for women to release fluid during orgasm. It comes from the Skene's gland, actually, the urethra, and there's traces of urine in it. It's like periurethral fluid. And so it's really not a big deal. And this is what I want to say to Katie, because what I want to circle around to, yes, people always like, oh, but is it pee, is it not? First I have to say, who cares? How does it feel? And let's deal with that. Put a towel down. Get a waterproof blanket on Amazon for $20. The fact that women often feel shamed and worried and are messy, and now she doesn't want to orgasm with her partner because she's afraid to. I'm like, listen, we have to deal with ejaculate. There's ejaculate. In our lives, there has been ejaculate. We deal. We swallow, we spit, we do whatever we do. It's in our face, only if it's consensual. But this whole thing about squirting, I love that women are realizing that they can, and it can feel really amazing. Here's the thing about squirting. It doesn't necessarily mean an orgasm. Just, I already know what you're thinking. You're like, what does it feel like? Is it an orgasm? For some women, yes, some women squirt with orgasm. Some women squirt without orgasm, and obviously women orgasm without squirting. And so it's just part of one of the beautiful tools in our toolkit, if you will. That's so masculine. What's another good, I like car analogies when talking about sex, and like toolkit, like here's my wrench. But you know, it's really just another thing. And I think that many women they actually have the ability to squirt. It's a practice. And so, you know, usually it's from internal stimulation, externally with a vibrator, but using a finger, a penis, a dildo. There's a lot of different ways to make it happen. And it's more of like a direct pressure on your G-spot, which is another thing we should cover, because I don't love calling it a G-spot because it's more of a G area, like a gray area. Anyway, that is squirting, Katie. I wouldn't trip on it, and I hope that you can get comfortable with it, because this is my recommendation. So next time you're with is you with a partner? No, you don't have a partner. When you're with someone, you're like, oh, so I get really turned on, and sometimes I squirt, or it gets wet, or it gets messy, whatever you want to say. So let's throw out a towel. And then that's it. That's all you say. There's no apology. There's no I'm sorry. There's like a hey. It's like, it's going to rain. Should we bring an umbrella? It's that kind of conversation. And I'm telling you that most of the things that we are tripping out about, what's my partner going to think of my uncircumcised penis, or what are they going to think of my squirting, or this weird thing? First of all, when we are confident with it and we're like, yeah, this is how it happens, this is what feels good to me, that is when you find your match with lovers. I think that what we're all looking for is somebody who actually owns their sexuality, and they're into themselves and their bodies, and they know how it works, and they know what makes them feel good. And let's say you are with someone though, okay? And they're like, oh God, God, it's messy. I'm really not into this thing. I would say that maybe that's not your person. I believe that every time somebody is negative or they shame us or they come after us for something that is just our own, our own bodies and the way we act sexually and things that feel good, I think they're doing you a favor because they're showing you that they're not your person. I think it's hard, especially if you're in love or you believe the sex was amazing. But if someone's going to make you feel bad for something, this is what I get concerned about because I hear from all of you all the time. Somebody might have shamed you once, like, oh, my vulva's weird. Or, a woman, sometimes, like my vulva's weird, or I feel like no one ever goes down on me. What's wrong? And then I hear from men a lot. Like they could have gotten shamed. Someone said like, oh, I'm not good at oral sex, or I'm not good at performing. I'm not a good kisser. This is what I've heard from men. And it's like, first off, these are all things that are skills that we learn and we hone over time, especially if you're in a relationship with a lover that you can kind of say, well, all right, if you're not into my kissing, like show me what you do like and I'll show you what I like. In fact, one of my best tips, I believe, for kissing, because this is something else that pisses me off too. I'm of the school belief that if you are with somebody, and I used to do this, so I know I'm like, oh, he's a bad kisser. Oh, they're a bad kisser. I had to end it. I do not believe that's grounds for dismissal. I believe that's also something that you can say, you know what, babe, let's do something. Let's play a game. I'm going to show you the way I like to be kissed. And then I want you to show me the way you like to be kissed. So then you get to show them what you do and then they do their thing. And then you get to decide, then we create like an amalgamation of kissing. I feel like it's like dancing, how you kind of follow someone leads, someone follows. And that's what it is. But sometimes we're nervous. Maybe it's the first time we kissed or, whatever's happening, right? Our breath smells. There's a million things that could be happening. And so I think just casting someone aside because of kissing is unfortunate. We got Trevor, 43, in Arizona. Hi, Trevor.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. How are you? How can I help?
I'm really good. My girlfriend of almost 2 years and I, we're thinking of possibly bringing other people into the bedroom. And my girlfriend is early 20s. I'm early 40s. And we fantasize about it. We talk about it. And we are considering maybe making plans for it. But I don't know if it's a good idea, even though we like the idea of it.
Right.
And I'm wondering what your take is on it.
Okay, well, thank you. Trevor, this is such a good question because you did say some of the things I recommend is for couples to make sure, because, we don't know until it happens. And I try to set couples up for success in this way. And one of the things I say is fantasize about it, like do some dirty talk when you guys are just the two of you and talk about picturing that third person there. So it sounds like you've done that. And it's never a good idea to try to talk our partners into it. Like we should have a threesome, right? So tell me where you're both at with it. Like, is it the kind of thing that she brought it up, you brought it up? How did it come to be?
It's been over a year that we've actually talked about it. And so I'm trying to remember how it was brought up, but it was very casual and It wasn't a surprise to either one of us. It kind of goes both ways, meaning I kind of am curious about male-to-male contact, and she's curious about female-to-female contact, too. So It's like we're both kind of like up for, let's see what happens kind of a thing, So,
yeah.
We're neither one of us have a lot of bugaboos. We're just kind of, trying to feel it out. And I just wanted to know if there's any, pitfalls or things that we really need to be wary of.
Yeah, there's always pitfalls, but the thing, there could be. So you're asking all the right questions. The first thing is to decide, is it going to be, what kind of partner? You said you might be interested in being with a male. She might want a female. And then also setting as many boundaries ahead of time as you can and rules, for example. Talk through, is there anything that's off limits, for example? Or anything that is a requirement, like we got to use protection, or there's certain sex acts. What do you do when it's over? Do you want the person to sleep over? How do you find the person?
Right.
I think it's great to have someone that you're both attracted to. Also, having a safe word. You never know how you're going to feel until you get into the situation. But then you could think what's your safe word? Is there a word you could say or something? Because if one of you get uncomfortable and you want it to stop. And I think talking through these things with your girlfriend and saying, what do you picture? How do you guys, elaborating on the fantasy? How do you actually picture it going down? Where is it? What are the things that are happening? Have you guys covered any of those bases?
And we have. We've started to kind of plan it out, so to speak. And I guess my biggest concern is, is it a recipe for disaster for my relationship with my girlfriend? Because that's above all else. That's most
Well,
important
tell me
to
what you picture there.
And,
tell me, okay, so what would be because everyone's recipe for disaster is very different. So, Trevor, what to you would mean disaster?
I guess, honestly, if she were to lose interest in me sexually by myself and just want that type of scenario only, and kind of get away from her and I being able to be intimate together and have that level of intimacy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I want to do it like in addition to, not a replacement of, you know.
Well, that's always a risk, right? Like, I think you just nailed it. The biggest fear that we have is like, oh my God, I bring in a third and my partner falls in love with the third. You know, I think it's unlikely, you know, so totally you're on the right page. Have you talked to her about your fear around it or your concern?
A little bit. You know, I haven't, not in these terms quite yet. So, you know, we're enjoying the fantasy and we're enjoying the talk, and we do the dirty talk, and I'm like, you know what, I need to ask Emily, what should I do? Is it something where she just says, absolutely not, this is a recipe for disaster entirely, or are there safe ways to go about it and still preserve our relationship? So I think just having that conversation with her and expressing my concerns is definitely the next step.
That's my first step. And no, I'm never going to tell someone, oh no, terrible. I know there are some people that are like, oh, that's a terrible idea. Not if you cover these grounds. And again, maybe another recommendation would be like, you know, keep it a shorter session, you know, don't make it an all, you know, if you can, or say like, we're not going to see the same person twice. And then kind of having an aftercare session where you discuss it and you really kind of break it down into how you both felt. Because if you both feel like you got something out of it, then you can even make the next one better. Cover all of that. But I think you guys are pretty close, you know? So keep listening.
Yay.
Let me know how it goes, Trevor. We're rooting for you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the help.
Of course. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Stay tuned because after the break, I'm helping callers work through anxieties, initiating sex in a sexless marriage, and practicing self-love after divorce. Hey, Carrie, 47 in California. How you doing? Thanks for calling.
I'm doing well. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling. How can I help you?
Okay. I feel like there's a lot to unpack, so I'm going to try to give you as much as I can. My husband and I haven't had sex, and I know for sure it's been over a year, probably a year and a half. We've been together 10 years. We had a very healthy sex life. We ran into some fertility issues. My daughter's 5 now, so for the 2 years, it became very clinical. It became very timed. It became, instead of fun, it was, you got to be home at this time during this hour, and this went on for 2 years. Once we had our little one 5 years ago, I had an emergency C-section, so then it felt like it took me months to get back into even wanting to. Then I put on a lot of weight, and so then it became once a year, and that's kind of where we are at.
Okay. Wow, Carrie, have you talked to him about it? Have you guys talked about your sex life?
Yes.
Okay.
We both I went to a doctor. I've got everything tested. I said, is my sex drive, am I premenopause, what's happening? He said his vitamin D levels were low, and maybe that's it, so he's taking vitamin D. But I feel like it's so far gone, I don't know how to get it back. Like, I don't even know how to make the first move at this point, because also our 5-year-old likes to get up in the middle of the night and jump in bed with us, or have me stay with her, and we're trying to work on that with her. But we're still, when we hold hands or kiss, I still get excited.
Oh,
so I know I'm still attracted to him.
Awesome. Carrie, that's great. You still feel that connection to him. Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know how to get it back. I don't know how to make the first move. I'm almost embarrassed. I'm almost like, I don't know what to do anymore.
So it sounds like you got into a pattern of like sex, even though, you know, it sounds like it was great at the beginning, right? Like before these 5 years, your sex was hot and good and you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's great news. All good things. And the fact that you still get turned on and excited when you hold your hand, also great, Carrie. So how this works is it's having a conversation with him next time you guys, I hope you have date night. Do you guys have date night? Babysitters?
We try.
Okay.
We do try. He works a ton, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. And I know, like, so you're right. I understand why making a move right now would be weird, but what wouldn't be weird is saying, you know what? I'd love to have a date night with you. Like, let's make sure it happens this week. You get the babysitter, you make it happen. And then when you're out, say, I've been thinking about us so much and I realize our sex life has sort of been non-existent and I really miss it. I would love to work on our intimacy and I would love to work on our sex life. And you could just be honest and say, I've been wanting to make a move, but it seems weird. And I feel like it got really militant when we were trying to get pregnant. And I just want to get back, or I want to recreate it right now, because sometimes we want to get back to something. And like, I think that's really tough. Not that you can't get back there, but kind of saying like, let's create where we're at now in our late 40s. You know, you're like, what does sex look like to us? Let's talk about, you can ask them like some of the questions I love couples discuss is like, what was like the hottest time we've had sex that you remember? And I can tell you some things that I like. And then I think it'll be important for you guys to kind of just start doing it again. And also like, just start kissing again. Maybe you take, like, maybe you don't rush through intercourse, but you like give him a massage, then he gives you a massage. You start making out again. It's been so long that you could actually dip into that newness factor again and get to know each other where you're at now, which could be really exciting and hot. So you could look at it that way. Like, we have a great opportunity to build something here and to get connected again. And I would actually recommend a vacation if you haven't had that with a 5-year-old. Because that's where many couples all the time connect again. And I talk about this all the time, vacation sex. So that's some things, Carrie, is taking the pressure off of yourself to make the first move, make it perfect, but to say, let's do this together, because our intimacy and our love is really important.
Well, I feel like having a kid, we've tried to do one night where we'll go away, and there's so much pressure to make that one night great, we'll get no fight. And I'm like, okay, we almost need a second night to make up for the pressure we put on each other to have a great time and one night away.
Can't you do that, though? Can you take 2 nights? You guys need 5 nights away as parents.
Yeah, we're trying. He works so much that we're almost like 2 shifts passing in the night. So it's very hard for us to connect now. And I almost feel like, is this divorce territory? Are we too far gone that we're just friends and roommates?
Well, this is the thing. This is why I want you to have this conversation with him, because then you could make this move again after dinner. You could be like, get a babysitter. You could make sure that, she's sleeping. And is she ever with anybody else? I understand what you're saying about her walking in, but maybe you just, she's not allowed to come in the room at a certain time. I mean, she's 5. I get that. But I also think that I don't think that you guys are done yet in this divorce territory. But what I do think is having a conversation about it in a really real way and letting him know how important it is for both of you, and then kind of figuring out how you're going to make the move and what you're going to do, I think is really important to reconnecting again and just saying like, I want this intimacy. I want it. And remember in the past about what worked for you. Like, how did you guys connect? What was hot about it? That you tell him that you still get butterflies when you hold hands.
Well, I think I also, the part I may have left out is I've gained 80 pounds with the pregnancy, and for some reason I'm having a really tough time taking it off, so I'm super self-conscious. And he's like, me too, I'm in the same boat as you. So we're trying to work out and take steps to lose the weight. So we talk about it. We understand it's a problem, but it's this weird wall that someone won't make the move because it's kind of like, oh gosh, what do we do now? Like, where are we with this?
Well,
but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, working out together is so important. So I love that. Could you guys get a babysitter once a week where you go do a class together, you go for a walk together, you do something, a hike? Because couples who play together, get the adrenaline going and work out together are actually, that's one of my other tips for enhancing intimacy. You both want the same things. So I get it that our body, when we're not feeling good in our body, we don't want sex, but it's almost like it's imperative right now. You have to start healing the relationship. But I promise you, once you start having sex again, it's actually just like working out. Once we get to the gym a few times, we can't imagine that we never went to the gym. And it's the same thing, for sex. So, you guys need the bonding. You need the intimacy. Like, that's what is missing. Like, that is the part, like, that you actually are craving right now, but it's probably manifesting in all these other things. You're angry that he's working all the time, or, he's upset that you're doing other things. But what you realize is once you bring back the intimacy and the dopamine and the hormones and the connection that comes from having sex again, it might solve a lot of the other problems, Yeah. So
I think that's glad I'm hearing this, because I feel like if I tell my friends, which at this point, I won't, because if I even mention it, everyone goes, oh, a year. Lisa Marie, what's happening?
Well, then stop. Don't talk to your friends. Honestly, I don't think that, you just got to make the move. Don't be a perfectionist about this. And it might not be perfect the first few times, but if intimacy is your goal and you guys are going to work together on how do we prioritize your sex life, it could be scheduling sex, and that is non-negotiable. We are having sex on Sunday morning. We're getting a babysitter, or Saturday night, and it's going to happen. So just give yourself a break that doesn't have to be perfect, and just start talking to him about it. You'll get it back. Thanks for calling. Okay. Best of luck to you. Does have to be goal-oriented. Terry 60, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Well, so I'm newly divorced and starting a new relationship and have never really had a wonderful sex life. I've always been really shy and nervous and not comfortable with the whole thing. And starting over, I'm just not sure if I'm ever going to feel comfortable with it, but just wanted some suggestions on what you think I should do.
So sex has never been something that you have enjoyed?
Correct.
Have you ever done any self-exploration?
Minimal, just with a vibrator.
Okay, well, that's something. There you go. That's more than a lot of people. And how's that experience for you when you masturbate?
Well, I mean, I could live without that too, but I just wanted to see what an orgasm felt like because I never had one prior to that. So I'm just, I was just kind of curious to see. I don't even know if it's just weird. To me, it feels like you're being electrocuted. Is that what I was actually feeling?
Wait, when you have an orgasm, you feel like you're being electrocuted? No, maybe you're actually being electrocuted. What kind of vibrator are you using? No.
No.
Well, okay, so your goal then is to, and you just got out of a relationship, you said? You're divorced. How long were you married?
A long marriage, yeah.
A long marriage.
25 years.
Gosh, I would love you to, I think it would be about upping your exploring and masturbating and listen to some erotica or, read some books, watch some porn, get educated around sex. Because most of us, and I don't mean educate, like a lot of us just don't know about sex, right? Like I wasn't having great sex until I actually made it my job to study sex and to learn about it. And so I think just being open, buying yourself, taking time for it, like taking a bath, like having your self-love nights where you are just exploring. Do you ever fantasize?
No.
Okay. Did you ever have any sexual trauma growing up?
No.
Okay. So just sex was just never that interesting to you?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. What I love is that you're calling because that means that you're interested in learning.
I know. Well, I listen to you all the time when I'm driving.
Terry,
I thought,
I'm so glad.
And I get ideas from other people, but I thought, I should just find out.
Yes, I'm so glad you called. Well, you know all the things that I talk about and that it is a journey of exploring and saying, like, what would happen if you said, okay, I hate telling people to do something every night, but 3 nights this week, I'm going to have a Terry date and I'm going to draw a bath. I'm going to pour a glass of wine. I'm going to leave my phone outside the room or, take a bath. Do something that makes you feel the most connected with yourself. And I would recommend getting some lube and just kind of touching yourself and start to really explore and breathe. Do you have any kind of mindfulness practice?
No, I don't.
Okay. Just a little bit of like breath work, a little bit of just really being present. What makes you feel the most relaxed? I would even recommend a glass of wine which I don't often recommend, like for sex, but I'm like to get you into your body. Is it after you work out? Mm-hmm. Is it... All I'm saying is the practice for you would be spend 20 minutes for a few nights a week where you are just getting curious about what it feels like to touch yourself. Maybe get a new toy, get something that, allows you to feel relaxed into your body where you can just start to get curious and explore. Because going out there and dating like that just may make some of it a little bit harder. But if you start to introduce just like working out or exercise, introducing that back into your sex life, you'll start to kind of feel those stirrings again. And maybe it's never too late to learn about sex on your own terms out of this long marriage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a great book by Betty Dodson called Sex for One. I love this book. Trying to think of what else you could do to kind of get back into it. If I did a course for women, would you take it about getting to know your vagina? It's just something I'm thinking about because a lot of women are like not in touch. They don't understand their bodies. We're just so disconnected. We don't look at them. And I happen to know that it's just about this getting like, hello, vagina, hello, body. Like, what do you want? You know,
Yeah.
so for so many women, we're oriented towards serving our partners and sex is performative that we just are shut down. Our pelvic floor is tense. We don't allow pleasure. Maybe we had a really stressful, anxious upbringing and we just clench down and we just don't allow pleasure into our body at all.
Yeah.
I think
no,
yoga.
I totally would take that.
Okay,
if
cool.
you did that.
Well,
I think
I will. Okay,
anything
Terry.
that's going to give me ideas.
Let me know how it
Thanks.
goes, Terry. Thank you for calling. I appreciate you. I just so appreciate all of you for calling in and being so open and real and honest and vulnerable, because we all learn from each other. And the fact that you all just feel safe to share it, you realize that your stories are inspiring others. And talking about these things, you know, I've always been about talking about sex. Like, we're talking about the weather. I want everyone to feel comfortable talking about sex. But, you know, our mental health challenges, whether it's anxiety or depression or feeling lonely, I mean, that's just as important, because then without our mental health, we don't really have anything. Like, if your mental health isn't in a great place, it's going to be really hard to have an intimate relationship. You can make the time right. Remember, I think a lot of you are like, oh, we don't have time and I'm busy. It's like, you just have an hour in your day, and that's a game changer. You know, the people in our lives are so important. And so if you've been feeling lonely or you've been feeling, you know, depressed, remember to cultivate the people in your life and the friendships and the relationships that matter to you. But I think we could all learn that, like, your thoughts are not the truth. And the more we can ground ourselves in the present moment, and for me, like I said, it always really helps to do that with my breath. Sometimes I think I'm taking a deep breath and I'm not. I'm like, oh, that wasn't deep. So I do like a 3 in and 3 out, and I'll do that like 3 or 4 times, and then I realize that whatever negative thoughts I was having, whatever I was worried about, just it resets you. Because remember, when we're anxious, we're worried about the past, or the fearing the future, and those are just your beliefs about something could happen that happened before, or something terrible is going to happen in the future. But that is not presence. And presence is being mindful what's in front of you. Your feet are on the ground. You're breathing. You are hearing my voice. You have food on the table, a roof over your head. You have someone you love. And those are the kind of things we have to remember. I appreciate all of you. That's it for today's episode. See you on Tuesday. Thanks for listening to Sex with Emily. Be sure to like, subscribe, and give us a review wherever you listen to the podcast, and share this with a friend or partner. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Sex with Emily. Oh, I've been told I give really good email. So sign up at sexwithemily.com. And while you're there, check out my free guides and articles for more ways to prioritize your pleasure. If you'd like to ask me about your sex life, dating, or relationships, call my hotline, 559-TALK-SEX. That's 559-825-5739. Or go to sexwithemily.com/askemily. Special thanks to Acast for powering the Sex with Emily podcast. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com.